What is that Brahman? That's the question then. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Everyone has a different perspective according to their qualification. And we mentioned this, that the Bhagavatam is the natural commentary. So when Vyasadeva was writing the Bhagavatam, Ganesh was his scribe. And they had this challenge amongst each other that Ganesh said, I will not continue writing if I have to pause, if you aren't ready to write the next verse. Vyasa is just quoting them, dictating, and Ganesh is his amanuensis, meaning he's writing as Vyasadeva dictates it. So he said that if you do not know the next verse, if you're not ready for it, when I finish that one, then I'll stop. And then Vyasa said, if you do not understand the verse we have written, you must stop. So they went along for some chapters, and then Vyasadeva composed this verse, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan eti shabdyate. This is defining that Brahman that we're discussing. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan eti shabdyate. He says, Vedanti tat tattva vidas. Those who are learned, Vedanti, tat tattva vidas, they understand the absolute truth to be having three features. Tattvam yaj jnanam advayam. But that is advaya. Advaya means non-dual. So ultimately, to be absolute, it has to be one without a second. It can't have something that is its equal. Then it's not the absolute truth. So advayam, it's non-dual. But it manifests in three features. Brahmeti, paramatmeti, bhagavaneti, shabdate. So Ganesh's was like, he couldn't understand without some further explanation. So he stopped. And then Vyasadeva began to instruct him. What is the meaning of this? So Gurudev would give a story in this regard. He says that if you're on a train and you're approaching a mountain that's far in the distance, from a far distance, you see the mountain as a sort of blue haze, right? Undefined. But as you continue and you become within a few kilometers of it, or a kilometer of it, then you can see waterfalls, specific rocks, trees. So it becomes more clarified. And then if you actually get off the train and start walking on the mountain, you can see individual animals, deer, squirrels, blades of grass even you can see. But the mountain is one. It's not that there's two different mountains. From a distance, you perceive it in one way. From more close, you see it another way. And ultimately, immediately in his presence, you see it another way. So Gurudev would say we can understand Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan in that way. Those who see the absolute truth, when they're clouded, their perception is clouded by the material energy. Meaning now we're in samsara, we're very far away from that personality. So therefore we see the effulgence. The Brahman is described to be the effulgence of the personality of Godhead Krishna. The effulgence coming from his bodily limbs manifests as the Brahma Jyoti. And that's what people understand as the Brahman, all-pervading spirit. And it's said that the Upanishads, it's described in a verse that it's difficult for them to pierce beyond that covering and to enter into the realm of the personality of Godhead himself. And that's partially why Vedvyas later wrote the Bhagavatam itself, to reveal the qualities of that personality of Godhead, because that's him in his most direct manifestation. If you are like the mountain example, if you're far away, you're not able to become like, oh, when you want to discover the mountain range, you're not going to just look at it from 50 miles away. You want to climb on it. You want to go and discover the caves and the trees and the waterfalls. So if you actually want to understand the absolute truth, you got to come close. And when you become very close to the absolute truth through Sambandha, then you see Bhagavan himself in his different features. And that Bhagavan also has many features. So therefore, if you want to understand him further, then you must approach a guru who is more realized in that. So a guru can only give you to the level of his realization. So atato brahma jigyasa, when we say sa guru meva bigachit, approach a guru, what kind of guru are you going to approach? And so now that's why we're going to talk about Mahaprabhu's philosophy and Mahaprabhu's line. We mentioned this already, achinte veda veda tattva. Why is what Mahaprabhu came to give so special? And that's because Mahaprabhu is connected not only to Bhagavan in the highest sense, but he actually is Bhagavan in the most hidden feature. That's why it's very significant, because Mahaprabhu, who is he? He's Channa Avatar. He's a hidden incarnation, the hidden most highest incarnation, you can say. And so if you don't understand Mahaprabhu, then you're not able to understand Bhagavan in its fullest extent. But Vedvyas made this point that it's not three different things. Ultimately, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan are one. But they manifest in these three features according to your level of adhikar. So when Prabhupada talks about Vedanta Sutra, he says, when we try to understand Vedanta, we should approach Vedanta from the angle of view of those gurus in our line, because they know it in the highest way, right? Our Gurudev and our Acharyas in this Bhagavad Parampara, they themselves are Radha Krishna's associates. So who is better than them to describe their nature to them? Those who are not Radha Krishna's direct associates, they can describe it in reference to Brahman, and how we can also maybe merge with that absolute, or in the reference to Paramatma, but they don't have relation to the highest feature of the Lord, so they can't help us realize the Lord to the highest extent. Therefore, we approach our gurus who are in Mahaprabhu's line. So now, when we go to Bhagavan, right, we can, like, who is Bhagavan? What do we know of as Bhagavan? We generally think of Bhagavan as like God, right? But even our Gurudevs, what they teach is that Bhagavan has many levels also. Even you look at Krishna, people think Krishna is just Krishna. No, there's Mathura Krishna, Dwarka Krishna, then there's all the other avatars, Ram, Nrsimha. So who are we trying to actually approach? Even the Vedas, sometimes they say Surya, worship Surya Bhagavan, worship Indra, worship Vishnu, worship different forms of Vishnu. But Gurudev would teach us that no, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is, even there's the Braj Krishna who is far and away beyond, even like Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. That's even a different Krishna. So the thing is that Mahaprabhu taught us that the topmost form of Bhagavan, meaning the real Parabrahman, that's Brajendra Nandan Krishna. And Mahaprabhu's philosophy is given all in one verse of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, which is Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesa Tanayasta Dhama Brindavana Ramya Kachi Rupasana Brajavidu Vagene Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pramarthamon Shri Chaitanya Matamidam Tatradhanam Paraha. That the topmost feature of Bhagavan is Brajendra Nandan Krishna. His topmost realm is Brindavan. Those who perform the topmost form of worship, or the topmost process to achieve him, is that performed by the gopis. The topmost evidence is the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the ultimate goal is pure love, prem. That is the philosophy of Mahaprabhu. So we're going to approach it through that kind of perspective. And so when we're trying to approach the philosophy of Mahaprabhu, we have to look at Mahaprabhu's life and how he revealed through his own pastimes what is the actual culmination of the goal of our own existence. What is our ultimate goal, and what is the ultimate way to achieve that goal? And then with that as a basic foundation, then we can approach the Brahma Sutra from that perspective of Mahaprabhu. So we'll continue from there.